technical editor for Power in Motion, and today I'll be speaking with Andrew Ibsen, Global Technical Director, and Flavia Richards, Global Marketing Manager at Hallite Seals, about current trends they are seeing for seals in the fluid power industry, as well as technology developments the company is undertaking. All right, well, so thank you both for joining me today, and I know so just to kind of start the conversation, we know, sustainability is a key focus for a lot of companies, including Hallite. Could you maybe talk about what does sustainability mean for the company and what are some of its key goals in this area?
Yeah, absolutely, no problem. And thank you for having us today. So yeah, at Hallite, we see sustainability in a very broad sense. It means that we're moving to creating our products in non-polluting processes where we can conserve energy and the natural resources. But we also need to ensure that we can remain economically sound and safe for our employees, our communities, and our customers. We have a mission across all our business and our business activities to foster that culture of sustainability right throughout all our operations, and also to encourage the positive environmental impacts within our innovation and our new product designs, but within our process management and those operational principles by embedding a roadmap to reduction of our 6 core ambitions within our environmental positioning. Those ambitions include CO2 emissions, energy consumption, reduction in our organic solvents, for instance, the waste that we generate, the water that we consume, and of course, those unsustainable raw materials.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. And so what, if any, impacts will Hallite's sustainability initiatives maybe have on products or both legacy or new products?
Well, yeah, and our new products, Hallite have now adopted the life cycle assessment framework. This is a method or a tool for assessing the environmental impact of a product right throughout its entire life cycle. This is a method or a tool that allows us to quantify and continuously improve the products, new and legacy, in terms of their environmental impact. That could be some of the simple things just around the choice of materials that we use, selecting materials that are renewable or recycled. But it also goes further into looking at the efficiency of the energy and the water that we consume, as well as our waste management. And then going into the product design, we look about the longevity of the product, reducing waste of the product at the end of life. It's sealing effectiveness. I mean, of course, we're talking seals. So if we can reduce oil losses and emissions in application, and then even further into the reduction of the energy consumed within the fluid power system. All these elements result in a continuously improved efficiency and performance of both the new and existing products. One of those examples may be the effectiveness of seals in a fluid power system. Well, they rely on the interaction of the dynamic surfaces, and therefore the drag that is produced in application is from the frictional forces. Well, that drag in the system demands energy, and so higher drag means higher energy required to drive that fluid component, such as a hydraulic cylinder, as an example. So if we can reduce the friction, therefore it directly impacts on the energy consumed in service.
Okay, makes sense. And so do you maybe have any other examples of how seals could potentially aid with sustainability efforts that customers might have?
Well, yeah, I mean, go back to that point, the life cycle assessment, it recognizes that although we have a responsibility to drive efficiencies within our manufacturing and the aspects under which we have control, the environmental impact of the product in use is equally or possibly even more relevant. We work with our customers to understand their needs during the use of the seal. And so, for example, the end of life phase, at the product disposal, or taking, any steps that we can to minimize the impact after it's left our facility, throughout its entire life.
Okay. And so are there any maybe new products the company is developing specifically to aid with sustainability efforts of either customers or the industry or just your guys' own objectives? And do you have any examples there that you maybe be able to provide and how they would help meet sustainability goals?
Yeah, the validation of our the performance of some of our new products that are coming and will be seen at the IFPE. They demonstrate that point, that endurance, leakage, and friction performance results that will help the customer in supporting that view where it's contributing to reduced drags in the hydraulic system. You know, just by us being able to manage friction around the seal. But then going into that improvement in durability, for instance, the functional sealing effect by extending the cycles ensures a longer life in the product. And of course, that contributes to reducing waste. But more critically, the improved seal function. Boundary layer lubrication is a critical part of a seal function in fluid power hydraulics, but it can often be perceived as leakage. And of course, leakage has an environmental impact. So through our endurance and leakage tests, we can show that significantly reducing leakage rates compared to industry acceptance levels can obviously have a positive impact.
Okay. And so we know industry education is an important subject, especially these days when it's harder to, workforce challenges for almost every industry, including fluid power. Education is big for Hallite. Could you talk a little bit about how the company is going about helping to educate the industry about sealing technology and how it benefits hydraulic systems and just education in general that you guys are trying to provide?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm very excited to do so. Education is another hot topic in our industry at the moment, and we recognize that amongst our competitors as well. But thought leadership and education has always been very high on the agenda of our team, because education is another key area of focus within Hallite when it comes to innovation. And we are recognized as experts and thought leaders within our customers for years. So our customers have recognized us as the specialist in hydraulic cylinder seals, and therefore our aim is to share this expertise with the younger generation now of fluid power engineers, as well as our partners in our industry. We believe that this is pivotal to encouraging and driving innovation. It is for this reason that we've developed 2 training modules, Fluid Power 101 and Fluid Power 201, and we aim to open these platforms to a broader audience through a webinar-based education plan that we have started over the last 2 years, and we are further expanding. And we also plan to go further by establishing new relationships with local education institutions around the world to really support the education of young engineers in the industry of fluid power.
All right. Well, since Andrew, you were just talking about testing that Hallite does earlier in our discussion, could you maybe go into a little bit more of the role that testing has played in Hallite's product development efforts and what role it might continue to play in the future?
Yeah, of course. Testing is key to everything that we do, and particularly, a high level of interest from my point of view. But we pride ourselves on the fact that we've been able to do this right throughout the history of our company, and we mentioned it earlier about supporting all of our products, the legacy and new, with that test data. We've always had that testing capability, and as I say, being able to do that testing provides the test data, which then underpins the benefits of the products that we're promoting. Testing has been key to that whole product development process, and is embedded within the process that we do within our new product developments. Data gives the customers the confidence that they know they are making the right choice, and it supports the promise that we make to them. Clearly, it allows us to better understand the impact of seal function, and allows us to quickly benchmark any improvements and understand where the benefits are to our customers. Instead of walking in and just being able to say, yeah, we think it should be better, we can present that test data that really turns that theory into a compelling design improvement. We can benchmark against other seal designs in the portfolio and other materials, and we get that great guidance around how products can compare. That gives us that great information and understanding the strengths and weaknesses in products, and gives us the ability to provide the best seal package based on solid test data. And what's more, now we're in partnership with MSOE. It's independent, and that testing is performed by an unbiased educational institution. And Flavia mentioned it earlier about broadening our reach to educational institutions. This gives further confidence to our customers, that we can provide a product that is validated correctly and can stand behind the data that we deliver.
Great. Well, thank you both so much for joining me today and providing insight into various trends and things Hallite is doing within the fluid power industry and with its sealing technology.